Welcome back. The Rape Crisis Center provides services for sexual assault victims and survivors, but right now they're facing a growing demand for services.
Here to show us how we can help is Executive Director Danielle Dreitzer. Good morning, Danielle. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yes, recently the demand for volunteers at the Rape Crisis Center has been up. Now, what's the reason for this increase?
It's really hard to say. One of the things that we think is because our media partners have been so great at keeping some of these issues in the media, and if you think about, especially with some recent high-profile cases, all the sort of positive outpouring of support for victims, we hope that that is the reason that maybe more people are stepping forward to report sexual assault. We know that it's still a very underreported crime. Yeah. So our hope is that the increase in numbers is more people feeling like if they do come forward that they will be believed and supported. And that's really where our volunteers come in. We can't run our 24-hour hotline. We can't respond to victims 24/7 at the hospital without that volunteer assistance. And
Absolutely.
so we really need the community's help and support in that.
So hopefully it's not an increase in actual numbers of cases, more than people coming out of the shadows.
Exactly, exactly. And that's our hope. There's really no way to know entirely for sure, where those numbers are coming from. So,
You mentioned your volunteers. Tell us about your volunteer base.
It is amazing to me. Our volunteers are incredible. We have just an incredible diversity of volunteers, all different ages, different backgrounds. We do have both male and female volunteers, which is something that not a lot of people realize. Yeah. All different ethnic backgrounds. We do encourage people with different language skills to come and volunteer because we encounter victims who sometimes speak different languages, that have hearing impairment and may need sign language. So really anybody with those special skills or interest in working with us, it is a pretty intensive process. It's a 50-hour training. Wow. That folks go through. And so I'm just amazed always at the level of commitment that we get from the community, and our volunteers are they are truly amazing, wonderful, giving people.
Absolutely. Tell us what they end up doing when they're a part of the program.
So our volunteers respond just like staff to our 24-hour hotline. So they're answering those calls. They're responding at the hospital to victims in person.
Oh, wow.
They're also helping out at our outreach events. So we have some materials on the table that would look like kind of our setup at say a health fair or community fair. We have volunteers out there doing that. We have volunteers helping out in our office. It sounds silly, but we can't have a staff meeting because there always has to be somebody answering the phone and available to go to the hospital at any moment's notice. So our volunteers step in and help out so that we can just have all of our staff together at a meeting and not have to be interrupted. So they're vital to us.
If someone is interested in volunteering, how much time do they need to be able to commit?
So the training takes place over a 5-week period. It's 50 hours and goes over just a wide variety of different topics to prepare them to answer those calls and to respond to clients. And they do need to be 21 and able to pass a background check. And other than that, if it's something, I would say if you're thinking about it, if you're out there, you have that time, definitely do the online application, give us a call, ask any questions that you have, and think about doing it. It's a great way to give back to our community in a really meaningful way.
Once you've gone through the training, how many hours are expected of you?
Typically, volunteers do 4 to 6 hours a week, and we do ask for a minimum of a 6-month commitment.
Awesome.
But we have some who have been with us for 4, 5, 6 years doing that weekly commitment. It's just incredible.
Do you find that the people that are volunteering, do they have a personal connection to somebody or maybe themselves having gone through it, or is it just they feel the need to be a part of it?
It's a wide variety. We do have quite a few individuals who are survivors who, have put enough time between themselves and been through the healing process where they feel they can give back in that way. Others
and speak from a position of power as well.
Absolutely. And we do hear that from folks all the time, that it gives them a great feeling and sense of kind of conclusion to that chapter, to be able to then give back to other individuals that are going through that experience. So they're just, like I said, they're amazing. We couldn't do it without them.
That's interesting. I volunteer with animal rescue, and I started doing so after I lost my dog, and I was just heartbroken. And it was a good way to channel that grief and turn it into something positive. And I think 4 to 6 hours a week is quite doable for most people's schedules. Yeah. Yes. What other kind of positive things do you have going down at the center?
Given that it is the kind of that back to school time of year, we always like to remind folks that we do have programs that go into the schools. So if you want safety and awareness education for your kids, this is a great time to, as you're getting them enrolled in school, talk to your school, ask if they bring our programs in. We are available to come into any school in the Clark County School District.
Awesome.
We always like to make sure we're reaching more kids because obviously prevention and education is a huge aspect of what we do. We don't want to just be serving victims. We also want to be changing our culture and stopping this from happening to
in the
anybody.
first place. Yeah, absolutely. We have the hotline on the screen as well. And if people do find themselves in this situation that they've been abused, don't be afraid. The number's on your screen, and you have people there 24 hours.
Absolutely.
Any time of the day.
Yes.
It's great having you.
Know that they have you as a resource, as a support, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's why we put so much effort into the volunteer training, so that anytime somebody calls or comes in, that they have a very well qualified individual to work with them and answer any questions that they have.
That's phenomenal.
Great.
It's great
Well,
having you.
Thank you for joining us and shedding some light on this issue. It's so important. Thank you. Again, the need for volunteers is greater than ever. For more information or to apply to help, just visit the website on your screen. The application deadline is the 15th. Training begins September 7th. There's also a hotline that is answered 24/7. That number is on your screen as well.
And a couple community